So Brandon Aiyuk, not at OTAs. Niners don't seem to be crying about it. They're not begging him to come back. It doesn't seem. In fact, they've got reinforcements. What message are the 49ers sending Brandon Aiyuk right now?
Well, let's also add they just signed Juwan Jennings to an extension.
Yeah, there is that. And they gave him a nice little pay increase. He's going to make him like $10 million next year.
So they signed him to an extension, and in the draft they took 2 wide receivers.
Not just one.
This is the 2. And so this is the message they're sending him. And by the way, they're being very quiet with the media. The message they're sending him is, we don't need you. Mm-hmm. We don't need you. We'd like to have you. We'd like to have you. Our preference is we'd like to have you, and we'll pay you a lot of money. We may not pay you what you would like, but we'll pay you a lot of money, and you'll be rich for this generation and the next generation. But if you don't take it, we don't need you. I think that's what they're saying. And in fact, without saying it, it's like they've taken the bat signal out and put it all over the Bay Area. Would you agree, Iggy?
I completely agree. Hell of a player. We'd love to have you, but you don't have leverage over us. We're not just going to bend over backwards to bring you back as soon as possible. In fact, if you stay away, we like Ricky Pearsall. We still have George Kittle, Christian McCaffrey, although he's not there yet. But theoretically, they have Christian McCaffrey and Deebo Samuel. They have plenty of weapons.
Yeah.
Aiyuk's replaceable.
Yeah, we don't need you. And what's more, we don't throw down the field all that much, so we don't exploit exactly what you do in our offense. And in the Super Bowl, you took yourself out of the game by arguing all the time with the other players and wanting to fight with them. This has been cataloged. We know this. So sure, it would be nice to have you, as they say in football announcing, you're a good piece. I love when they talk to human beings as pieces. You're a good piece, but we have other pieces. So that's the clear message without them having to say it to him and his agent. And they have to deal with it and digest it and think what it means. Because, Iggy, they're not going to give him what he wants.
It's very interesting because every week there's another wide receiver around Aiyuk's age who gets an extension. And every week it's a little bit more. It's $28 million a year, $76 million guaranteed. And so it seems like it emboldens Aiyuk and his agent to stand firm. Like, this is the market. We're not asking for more than what we're worth. On the other hand, the Niners seem less inclined to meet this player's demands than they have at any player in the past. Like, you said they don't need him. The message they're saying is, we don't need you. They never sent that message to Nick Bosa, Fred Warner, Deebo Samuel, George Kittle. They need those players. Aiyuk seems to be more replaceable in their eyes, even though he may be the most expensive.
Iggy, in the if you know this, in the 3 playoff games, how many passes did he catch?
9.
That's 3 a game.
Jennings had 11.
Yeah, I mean, when it was the big stage, he caught 3 passes a game.
Mm-hmm.
That's not impressive. We don't need that. We need better than that.
Yeah, you got to spend $30 million a year to get 3 catches a game in the playoffs. You could probably get that from Ricky Pearsall.
Yeah, that's $10 million a catch.
That's a lot. That's a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wonder how far apart the Niners and Aiyuk are in their contract negotiations right now. It seems like both sides are pretty confident.
I think Aiyuk is sweating it more because Aiyuk has said some crummy things.
It's true.
And the Niners have not reacted. They've not responded. I think they feel they're in the driver's seat.
Yeah, because from Aiyuk's perspective, it's like, it doesn't have to be the Niners who pay him. It could be anyone. But as long as he gets what he feels he's worth, that's fine. But the draft passed, doesn't look like he's going to get traded, and the Niners still want to drive a hard bargain. He must be sweating it.
That's what I think. Yeah. And again, usually I'm on the side of the players, usually, although I don't consider players labor. I don't. I mean, but usually I'm on the side of the players. But in this case, not particularly. I think he could earn a lot of money, or eventually he'll go somewhere else and earn a lot of money. I don't care.
Yeah, it could be deferred a year, but what the Niners shouldn't do is just capitulate for the sake of making him happy and giving him whatever he wants. That would be a big mistake.
If I were management, I wouldn't do it. And I would clearly convey the message, we don't really need you. And not only would I convey it, I would mean it. I would believe it that we can be a championship caliber team, which I believe they are a championship caliber team without you.
Yeah, I mean, if you take him off the team and you don't pay him $30 million a year and you trade him for some draft picks who are cheap, then you still have Debo, Kittle, McCaffrey, Jennings, Juszczyk. That's still the best group of weapons in the league without Aiyuk, or close
And
to it.
Iggy, and they drafted 2, and they still have Ronnie Bell. And
Forget, yeah.
he's very. I mean, I've seen him in limited action, but I think he's pretty good.
Mhm.
He was at Michigan, right?
Mhm.
And Harbaugh liked him.
Yes, he did.
Yeah. So I mean, I think they could make up the difference. They could make up the difference, especially because Ayuk didn't come through in the playoffs very much, and he would be better on a team like the Raiders where they want to
Mhm.
throw deep all the time. He'd be better on the Raiders or other teams of that sort. He'd be better, but
Buffalo.
Buffalo, yeah,
Yeah.
maybe even the Chargers
Yeah.
than he would be on. He'd be more effective on those teams than with Brock Purdy and the Niners, who run a different offense.
Yeah. That's why this is so different than any situation the Niners have been in with a player before. Like, you couldn't say that about Debo. Would Debo be better on another team? No. Absolutely not. Would Bosa be better on another team? No. Fred Warner? No. Ayuk? He's the first one where you're like, they don't really take full advantage of him, and
Right.
he needs more targets than he's getting. And no, that's why this Ricky Pearsall pick sort of is beginning to make sense, because that contract for Ayuk doesn't.
You know, the other thing is Bill Walsh always emphasized yards after the catch. Yak. Debo, obviously, in a way, his whole game is yak
Mhm.
because he's so hard to bring down. My impression, just from looking, not consulting stats, Ayuk is not a big yards after the catch guy. He catches the ball and they knock him down.
Mhm.
Right? So it has to be very precise with him.
Right.
Boom, you're open, you catch it. He's not going to catch it and run 10 more yards.
No. So to get the most out of him, you need to get him the ball down the field, and that requires a few things. A quarterback with a strong arm. The Niners don't really have that. An offensive line that's really good in pass protection, so the quarterback gets more than 2 seconds, so that Ayuk gets more than 2 seconds to run a route. Niners don't have that.
Right.
And a coach who's really sophisticated with the drop back passing game. Niners don't have that either. So he should go somewhere else. And I think he knows it.
And I think they know it. So there's this friction. Friction. It'll be very interesting to see how it comes out. Now, again, we have a bet, Iggy and I. I say he's on the roster. Did I say on the roster or would play the first game?
I think we said on the field week 1, and I somehow said not on the field week 1.
Okay, on the field. And on the field means in a helmet and running around. It doesn't mean standing on the side like Fred Warner.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
On the field.